Hey, what's up, y'all? It's N Squared Sports back. We are talking about the AFC West in this video, and we're going to break down the division, the four ceiling players to watch, and the most important games. So we'll start with the Kansas City Chiefs. They went 12-4 last year and lost in the AFC Championship versus the Patriots. They were super close. They went to overtime in that game. They were so close to getting into the Super Bowl last year. This year, I have their floor at 9-7 and their ceiling at 12-4. I'm really high on them again this year. Tyreek Hill got past all of his allegations, and he's going to be on the team. And still got Patrick Mahomes, who's probably the best up-and-coming quarterback. At least right now he is. Who knows if he'll take a step back or not, but I think he'll be good. So, Nick, what do you think about this team?
I'm very opinionated on the Chiefs, actually. So I have the floor as 7-9 and the ceiling is 13-3. And for all those Chiefs fans, if they watch this, that are gonna blast me for saying 7-9 is a floor, I just want you guys to know that your defense is bad. I'm sorry. I had to watch Tyrann Mathieu for 17 games, and I saw him get burnt every single game. And you paid way too much for him. I don't think your defense is able to stop a lot of the people on y'all's schedule. I'm very skeptical of the defense. Also, Pat Mahomes, when you look at statistics, is that he's bound to recede. It's basic math. And if he puts it up twice, I'm going to be impressed because that shouldn't be happening. Tyreek Hill got over some bull that he's not suspended. So quite frankly, this team got lucky. I just want to state that I don't see the offense being as good as they were last year. And you saw towards the end of the season, Pat Mahomes was still fantastic, but he was throwing more interceptions. People were starting to figure him out. They also don't have Kareem Hunt, and I'll go into my players to watch right now, is they only have Damian Williams as their running back. And they have Carlos Hyde, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, they do. Carlos Hyde and Damian Williams. And I don't think that's going to be enough to the run game. And yeah, you have some great talent in Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins. I just have a hard time with some of their people that on their schedule because they have a tough schedule. I think one of the toughest schedules out there is when you just look at it and don't look at the strength of schedule number. When you look at their schedule and you're projecting every team, you're like, oh, I can make a case for them losing a lot of these games here and a lot of upsets. I think a good defense could stop this team because I don't think they have the defense to stop really most offenses. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so some players for me to watch, I think Tyrann Mathieu is an interesting one. As you said, you watched a lot of Texans football and you know more about Tyrann Mathieu than I do. But all I'm saying is I think he's interesting to watch because he brings a element where you think of his name and you think, oh, he's a pretty good NFL player. Just when you, off the top of your head, you think that. If he can be good, I think that's one guy on their defense that they have that they can rely on. So I don't know how he's going to be. You probably don't think he's going to do too well, but if he does, then that's an interesting one. So some games to watch out for. Basically every game they have a really tough schedule. So basically there are going to be a lot of games that could go either whether week 5 versus the Colts, and then also week 16 at the Bears. That's close to the end of the season. And if they need a game, that's a tough place to play sometimes. And who knows, Khalil Mack and the Bears defense is going to be wanting that game probably as well with their schedule. So I think that's a big game.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just say this about Tyrann Mathieu. He's great in the box, but I don't trust him anywhere in coverage. And he's probably going to be forced into some situations. And that's, quite frankly, a really easy spot to exploit. So just quickly for games to watch. The Patriots, I think you mentioned that there, but the game that will make me a believer in them is at Denver, Week 7, Thursday Night Football, because they got really lucky last year against Denver. And if they can beat Denver at home, I'm going to start believing in them because I'm a believer in Denver, which I'll get to later in this episode. But I want to see them beat them because this is honestly an underrated game. And watch this game Week 7 because it's going to be fun to watch.
Interesting.
There's a lot on the line in this game, in my opinion, because Denver's going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting.
Interesting. Well, I think that probably has to do with the quarterback a little bit for Denver last year.
Yeah.
Maybe their quarterback situation isn't as good as it was last year, in my opinion, at least. So let's move on to the Los Angeles Chargers. They went 12-4 last year and lost the divisional round at the Patriots. They just looked a little outmanned that game. They started out okay, but they just looked a little outmanned. So I think their floor is 9-7, just like the Chiefs, and I think their ceiling is 13-3. I think they have very complete roster, with or without Melvin Gordon, to be honest, but with Melvin Gordon for sure. So what do you have for their floor?
Floor is 9-7, and their ceiling is 15-1.
Wow,
It's one of the more sure teams, I think, in the NFL. Honestly, more sure than the Chiefs because they have a defense. With or without Melvin Gordon, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
That goes to my players to watch. My main one is Justin Jackson. He played really good against the Steelers last year, and quite frankly, if he steps up with Austin Eckler, they can take over Melvin Gordon. They have the offensive pieces to win it. Hunter Henry is back, their tight end, and he's a pretty good tight end. I'm pretty confident in them, and their coaching is getting another year, and they have a pretty young coaching. They have a good backup quarterback. Not that Philip Rivers ever gets injured, but yeah, so I think they have the potential to beat pretty much any team in the NFL.
I agree. I think they do. My player to watch my main one is Mike Williams. I think he kind of burst onto the scene last year in that game against the Chiefs where he made that catch in the end zone where he's wide open, and he played really good in that game anyway. So if he can step up and be that guy behind Keenan Allen, they have a stacked team already, and if Mike Williams takes another step up, I think their receivers are hard to beat in the NFL. So some important games I have. My main ones are Week 6 versus the Steelers. Last year they played, and it was a tough game for both teams. Week 9 versus the Packers is kind of an underrated one to me. I think the Packers are going to be new and improved this year, and that's not going to be an easy game right in the middle of the season. So what do you have?
So I have some first of all, I want to mention Mike Williams. He's probably my favorite young wide receiver in the NFL. He was fun to watch last year.
Yeah.
So the games, Week 3 versus the Texans, I think that's just going to be, if they can start the season off 3-0, this is going to be one of their tougher in the beginning. They're probably going to win this game, but I think if they can start the season off 2-1 or 3-0, they're going to be in a good place.
Yeah.
Any of the Chiefs games, and then at Denver's one of the hardest places to play. And again, I'm high on Denver, which we'll get to in the next point. I think they have a tough schedule. This division is it's going to be tough to actually win it. So we're going to see.
So moving into the Denver Broncos, I'll just go ahead and give my floor and ceiling. You're going to disagree with me, as I now know, because I am really low on them. I think their floor is 4-12, and their ceiling is only 6-10. I really just don't believe in them this year. I watched them the last couple of years. If y'all didn't know, I'm a big Case Keenum fan, and they let him go last year. And with watching it last year, I love some of their players. I've grown to love some of their players, but I just don't see it. It's not just because Case Keenum's not there anymore, but it's just because I just don't. I don't know. They're just getting a little older. They have some young up and coming players, but for the most part, I just feel like they're getting a little older. So that's my case. So go
ahead. So your ceiling for the Broncos is my floor is 6-10, and I think the ceiling for the Broncos is 10-6. I think they could potentially playoff. I think they're the dark horse of the NFL, to be honest. That's how I see them.
So real quick, actually, I forgot to mention, last year they went 6-10 and did not make the playoffs.
Yes.
Just wanted to make that clear.
By the end of the season, they were sort of, I guess, in that tanking stage, and they're just like, my season's over. They shipped off Demaryius Thomas to the Texans, and they lost Emmanuel Sanders to an injury. They just sort of had some bad losses, and it just...
And some bad luck. Some other games, like against the Chiefs, both times, honestly, they had some bad luck. But.
Yeah. So this year they got Joe Flacco, which I'm not a Joe Flacco fan, but I liked the trade. I think it had some veteran leadership and it's a plan for the future, but we're not talking about the future. We're talking about this season. So I like Royce Freeman coming back. I want him and Philip Lindsay to start working together. I think it's going to be a good RB duo, especially will help Joe Flacco get comfortable. Joe Flacco is one of the better deep ball passers. And Noah Fant and Cortland Sutton, two younger players. I think if them two can step up, I think this offense is good enough to where they can let the defense win the game, and they have a new head coach who's a defensive-minded head coach. I think this team can give a lot of upsets and can cause a lot of teams the problems. They got the offense to do it, to do enough. They got the potential to, and they have the defense that has always been there and produced. And Bradley Chubb and Von Miller are both excellent players.
Yeah.
So let me hear what you have to say.
Well, the one thing I'll say is it's hard to play in Denver because of the altitude thing, and also just because it's just a hard place to play. So that's the only reason I have for them winning some games. I don't see them going out on the road to win very many games. I don't know what it is about them. I just don't think Joe Flacco's that big of a step up from Case Keenum, even if they are getting some guys back. I just think they're going to kind of be the same team they were last year. I don't see any jump in their and they didn't really get anybody new other than some rookies. Yeah, everybody's getting better, but I just don't see it. Emmanuel Sanders is coming back from a bad injury, so will he be the same? And if not, then Cortland Sutton has to step up. And Cortland Sutton is my player to watch. However, I think he's really, really good, and I think he will get better this year. So watch him this year, and if he can play well, then I think they can possibly go 6-10. I can't say they'll do any better than that. I just can't do it.
Okay, so some of the bigger games to watch, I think, is Week 4 versus the Jags. I think you're going to see a real defensive battle there, and we're going to see how this offense is going to play. If they can win this game, I think they're going to start the season off right. Another game, as I mentioned earlier, is the Chiefs, Week 7, Thursday Night Football. If they beat the Chiefs, and it's pretty much an upset, I think this team's got potential to compete for the division, or at least the wild card, 5th or 6th seed. I didn't mention this before. I sort of projected the Broncos around 8, 9, and 7 as the team to pretty much be I'm going to upset you, but I can't win enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And just another game is versus the Texans, Week 14. I think they can upset the Texans. I think it's a sleeper game to watch.
Interesting. I have Week 3 at the Packers. That's going to be a big game. Then Week 8 versus the Colts, right in the middle of the season at the Colts. That's going to be a tough game. And I don't think they have the upset power that you think they do, but we'll just have to wait and see. I just don't believe in them this year. So let's move on now to the Oakland Raiders. They went 4-12 last year, not making the playoffs. I have their floor this year. That's 3-13, and their ceiling is 6-10. I really don't believe in the Oakland Raiders either. I just think, for one, the division's really good with the Chargers and the Chiefs, and even the Broncos. For the Raiders, it's going to be tough for them to win even 2 or 3 of those division games. I just don't see it. I could see them not winning a single division game, honestly. So what do you think about their floor and ceiling?
Oh boy. So I have their floor as 5-11, and this is a really unpopular opinion. I have the Raiders ceiling as 10-6.
Wow.
I actually.
So are you gonna have each team in this division at 10-6?
No, absolutely
like
not.
that.
I'm just saying ceiling as the potential for the best possible. Honestly, it's probably going to be around 6-10 is a more realistic, I think, or 5-11, 6-10 is more realistic. They have talent on their team, and honestly, their offense is underrated in my opinion. They have the wide receiver from the Chargers that I can't remember his name, Tyrell Williams, who's a speedster. They have Antonio Brown, y'all. He's the second, probably top 3 wide receiver in the NFL right now. I am a believer in Derek Carr. I think their offensive line takes a little bit of a step up because they signed one of the better offensive tackles, whether you believe in the Patriots system or not, but he's a good tackle. They got Josh Jacobs for running back. They want to establish that running game. I really do believe that the Raiders' offense is actually going to be pretty good, and this is going to lead me to my final point about players to watch is pretty much their defense. You want to watch that defense because they were bad last year. I think they didn't get any sacks. I think it was definitely under 10 sacks last year. Wow. It was around that range. It was not that many. And I think they went and got some guys to do it.
Yeah, one of my guys to watch, Cleveland Farrell, their draft pick out of Clemson. I think he's going to be a big point in that defensive line. My other guy to watch is Derek Carr. I agree with you. I think it's all on Derek Carr because they have the wide receivers around him now finally, even though they used to have Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree, which were really good wide receivers, and Derek Carr didn't really make anything of it. But with Antonio Brown and Tyrell Williams, it's possible. You just have to see if Derek Carr can elevate. I really do like Derek Carr. I really love Antonio Brown, and I'm not hating on this team because I love Antonio Brown. I just don't believe totally in their whole entire team as a unit. I think, like you said, their defense is really bad. I don't see it improving a ton this year, even with draft pick like Cleveland Farrell, but we'll just have to see. So some important games for me: Week 5 versus the Bears, Week 10 versus the Chargers, and Week 13 at the Chiefs. Some of those are division games, and Week 5 versus the Bears is a pretty early test. And I put this Bears one in because Khalil Mack is coming back to play Oakland.
Fun one game.
So it's going to be a really fun game in Oakland. So that'll be a game that Oakland is going to want to win. So I think that's important. So
I just put all the division games.
That's
pretty fair point.
That's fair, yeah.
I think if they get 2 wins on there, they're going 2-4 in the division, however it comes, and they can get a couple other wins outside. So
I just think they might win 1 in the division. I just can't see any more than that. So, but we'll just have to see. So we're almost done with the AFC. As we're making these AFC videos, we got the AFC East next. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one.